It's this Melbourne suburb that has authorities alarmed.
The area of most concern to us today is Caroline Springs.
Half of today's 20 cases are linked to the CS Square shopping centre, with investigations still underway into how 2 customers caught the virus.
We do know they went to CS Square. What we don't know yet is whether it was a fleeting transmission, perhaps in one of the common areas related to the toilets.
While testing lines were long in Caroline Springs this afternoon, only 1% of the state's 35,000 swabs were taken there yesterday.
I need those numbers to increase. We need to see more people in the Caroline Springs area coming forward for testing. It's a busy, important shopping centre.
3 of today's cases are students from Mount Alexander College who live in the Flemington public housing towers. They've been moved into hotel quarantine with their families, while 2/3 of tower residents have returned negative results.
It is, of course, a very anxious and distressing time for those families. It's very distressing to have, in this case, children identified as positive cases.
As the list of exposure sites grows to 250, there are now Tier 1 sites in Melbourne's east. Meanwhile, the General Achievement Test will be moved to later in the year for all Year 12 students.
We look forward to it being rescheduled as soon as possible.
3 times the amount of AstraZeneca jabs were given yesterday compared to the Monday before, after 9 of the 50 state-run hubs expanded eligibility to under 40s.
Strong emphasis to the fact that young people in particular, under 39, want to get vaccinated.
We know there's 200,000 shots of AstraZeneca sitting there on the government shelf. The government needs to open up all those state-run vaccination centres to everyone under 40.
The state government is refusing to say whether Melbourne's lockdown will be extended. But with just a quarter of today's cases in isolation for their entire infectious period, that seems almost certain.
I don't know what the future brings. The crystal ball hasn't fired up lately.
Crystal ball or not, many Victorians are keeping busy helping others. This group is providing food boxes to families in isolation from Altaqua College.
It's really challenging. A lot of the family, especially family who has many kids, is really difficult for them, but they're doing the right things.
They say the donations have been well received. Bridget Rollison, ABC News, Melbourne. This is an unusual day at the Werribee Vaccination Hub. Normally, it's only open for the second half of the week.
It is a concern, definitely, especially the western suburbs now. They should do like 7 days a week, and as much as possible, the maximum number will be better for us.
I think that, everyone who's eligible should be able to get it.
The more people that get vaccinated, the better. You know, it's going to make it easier for everyone in the long term.
The West has been the epicentre of Melbourne's major COVID outbreaks. There have been more than 2,000 in this area alone. And there are 21 active cases in the Wyndham local government area at the moment. People in the area say they've been getting into their cars and driving the half hour or so into Geelong or central Melbourne to get a vaccination because it hasn't been easy enough to get it done locally.
Not everyone is, fortunate enough to be able to do that, and especially in lockdown when we've got remote learning, we're juggling work commitments.
The main vaccine hub still doesn't accept walk-ins. Today, its opening hours were extended, but it's only temporary and in response to the latest outbreak. It's also not among the 9 hubs able to administer the AstraZeneca vaccine to under 40s.
To be overlooked for the 18 to 39 AstraZeneca as part of the hub, and for it only to start being 7 days a week, only was announced last night, is really frustrating. Certainly it's a move in the right direction.
We will clearly need to ramp those up. And we don't rule out adding to that as soon as the next stage of the system cranks in.
But change isn't coming soon enough, and local councillors say the area must be made a priority. Of Victoria's 111 active cases, almost 2/3 are in Melbourne's west. Nicole Asher, ABC News, Werribee. Life is looking a bit brighter in regional Victoria.
Everyone's mostly excited just to get going again, have customers in the shop again. It's all good feelings.
At Black Hill Primary in Ballarat, students were delighted to be back in the classroom.
It's hard learning from home because my brain is just like, you should be at school, not home.
There's a sense of anxiety too and being unsure about what's going to happen day to day. So it's really nice to have everybody back in routines.
In Gippsland, hairdresser Jacinta Chaffee is back in business with a huge backlog of bookings to cut through.
Then comes the stress of trying to book clients that have missed out on their appointment into an already fully booked next couple of weeks. So you're expected to create hours that you just don't have.
But being released from lockdown comes with a catch.
Okay, no worries.
Business owners are now the front line of defence, required to check the IDs of customers to make sure they're not from the city.
Generally, they're producing their licence without us having to ask. I've been here 10 years and I know the difference between a Melbourne person and a regional person.
And in Anglesea, knowing who should be there is even more difficult. Cafe supervisor Kiara Bassick says the population of the seaside town triples every time a lockdown is announced, as Victorians flock to their holiday homes.
There was a huge influx on the Thursday night when lockdown was mentioned, but people have still been really safe around here.
She's doing ID checks as required, but says it's not always popular.
It is quite frustrating, but I guess it's just what we need to do.
Last year, when regional businesses were asked to check customer IDs, they were backed by the so-called Ring of Steel around Melbourne. This time, police are relying on mobile patrols to catch those beyond city limits, and they say they're confident the team effort will keep the state secure. Jetta Costa, ABC News.